Right, so attach your cords as shown. So it's 5 on the right and your 2 shorter ones from the top. We're going to start by tying left double half hitches, which goes anti-clockwise over your cord and then out towards the left. And we're going to attach all of the cords, going with the lightest color first to create an ombre effect, and keep attaching those with your left double half hitches. The structure to bracelet will be a little bit floppy at this stage until you've got your cords attached like so, and then it will be much stronger. Next, bring down the second cord, and we're going to be attaching all of those previous cords to that second cord. Now just keep tying the cords until they all have been attached. Like that. Next, we're going to turn our board and we're going to set aside the top cord, and we're going to be working with the second one like so. So we are going to be tying right double half hitches, so which is going clockwise over the cord and then out towards the right. When you watch me knotting here, one important tip is doing macrame is to keep your working cords underneath your cords at all times. That way you don't get confused with direction. So this time we're going to go over, out towards the right. So this is going in a clockwise motion over your cord and then out towards the right. Now try and angle your cord away from the previous 2 rows, as this will open a gap. Now later on we're going to be adding a bead in between, so that will help you if you find it a little bit difficult to attach the cords at an symmetrical angle. So don't stress too much if you can't get the angle right just yet, just approximately, and just keep attaching. So next, the last cord on the top, we will attach one of our beads and then attach this one just as you did with all the others. And now we need another one of our needles, and we're going to be using the needle at the top like I've shown, and this is going to be an anchor point. I'm going to turn and change knotting direction. So now we are doing left double half hitches, which goes over your cord in an anti-clockwise motion, and then tie your cords to it. You can see me here how I'm pulling the cord up towards the previous row, which helps me to actually keep the gap nice and closed. Now if you wanted to create an angle like previously, you would pull the cord away from that upper row. So keep attaching until we reach the bottom, and then we're going to repeat this pattern several times for each section. So I've decided to go with 5. You could probably go with more. I've gone with 5 because I thought that would be quite a nice effect. So we're going to attach all of the cords until we get to the bottom, left double half hitches. And next we're just going to repeat exactly the same pattern as we did before. So angle up, we're going to go back towards the left now with our right double half hitches, and then once we're finished, we take that one cord that we previously set aside and add one of our beads to it, the larger ones, either your 8 mils or your 1 centimeter ones, and then that cord, we're going to use that as our new cord. So you can see here now there are 2 cords obviously at the bottom. So once we reach the bottom, the last one on the left there is going to be set aside, and we're going to be starting the opposing direction of the bead section with just the one cord that I'm working right now, but you'll see what I mean when I carry on. So I'm going to finish up, tie the last one, and then we're going to reverse knotting direction with that one cord again and setting aside the cord on the left. So take a pin, and I am now reversing knotting direction, knotting from left to right. So pull this tight, and you see that one cord on the left, as I mentioned just now, is being left out. We're not using that cord, just the one on the upper cord. So again, repeat the same process, and we need to create a gap just as we did previously. So aim for the same sort of angle and attach all of the working cords to that new core cord until you reach the top, and then again help you determine the gap with one of the seed beads that we have got in the stash. Last one, going to add a seed bead. Sometimes cords fray. You can use a pair of scissors to angle them and trim them off, as long as you've got long enough cords. This is all right. This happens quite frequently, so just take a pair of scissors, trim off the ends, and then off you go again. So add your bead, and then just as we did before, we're going to close off. So as I said, always have your core cord over your working cord. That way there's no confusion as to which direction your knot is going. Now we need to go back in the opposing direction and create one closed row. So now we are tying right double half hitches because we're moving from right to left, and your working cord is coming out towards the right. So repeat this until you've got 5 sections. So once you've done that, we're going to go on the other side again and start a new wave on the opposing side. So take your pin and move back towards the bottom of the row, and just remember to keep your cords and your knots tight against the previous row to achieve that neat look. And just keep going. And again, for the section, we are going to be using 5 of our seed beads, and this will help you determine how many of these sections you've already made. So on each side of the waves, we're going to be doing the same thing, and just keep repeating. Quite often when I work, I find that I need to rotate my macrame board to make the knotting more comfortable. You may see me here knotting down from the top, and now I've shifted because it's much easier for me to knot when everything is facing towards me. So you can do the same when you're knotting. You'll find a comfortable position that works for you. Just play around with it if you haven't done it before, and you'll find what's comfortable. Now obviously you need to carry on until you've done enough of a length. I've done 5 of my beads in between. This is big enough for my wrist. Now we need to add a jump ring. So the last 2 sections here, we're going to add a jump ring to the 2 cords, and then we're going to be knotting around both of the cords at the same time. This will encase the jump ring and be quite secure, especially after, when we finish with this, we are going to singe and melt the cords. You can do this with synthetic cords. S-lon is great for that because obviously it's a synthetic cord, and you are able to then melt it, which will ensure that nothing definitely opens up, which eliminates the need for glue. I find I've become allergic to glue because in the beginning I used it so much, and I prefer to keep it as natural as possible anyway, so that's a good alternative. So keep knotting and attaching your cords until you get to the end, and this will very securely attach your jump ring to it. There we go, right at the end, the last one attached. And don't be scared to now come in and with a pair of scissors and trim off the ends. You leave about 1 millimeter of cords at the end, so you have a little bit of material that you can use to singe. I'll show you just now how I'm using my lighter to cut off. To singe rather. Just be careful because it does get quite hot. Tap it down a little bit because this will then seal everything. See how beautifully it melts, and that is very strong and it will not come undone. And this is your jump ring attached. So all you need to do next is attach your chains and your findings, and that's it. There we go. And this way as well, if you have gone too short with your findings, you can use chain to actually extend it a bit. And there we go. That's the bracelet done. Hope you enjoy it.